Hello, and again, welcome to Bit Depth. I'm Santiago Ramones. Across from me is...
Sable.
My wife. Of course.
I know I've heard you say that already before, but still.
Right, and I'm going to keep saying it because that's it's part of the joke, I guess. My wife. Okay, yeah. We got married not too long ago.
Ayo. Almost 3 weeks ago.
Yeah. But
who's counting?
Yeah, you are, because I'm not that good at that. But yeah, go for it. I'll keep track of years.
Okay.
But
I mean, honestly, once I reach the 1 month mark, I'll probably stop.
Yeah, that's fine. Well, also because the 1 month mark will also be near our 10-year total mark. So yeah.
Very true.
Yeah. If you haven't already heard us talk about our nonsense about our relationship, then we've been together for almost 10 years now, and we got married on October 10th. Yeah. And for those of you that are listening that were at the wedding, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for being there. Thank you for RSVPing. Thank you for being a part of our big moment.
Yeah.
And the gifts, obviously. We have a giant list of people to thank, but
y'all have our kitchen set. I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah, I appreciate it. And all the cash that definitely helped us through the honeymoon.
Yes.
Because that was most of our meals.
Yes.
So.
No, I think it was probably all of our meals.
Yeah.
Was wedding money.
Yeah.
And we still have some left over to put towards other future things.
Yeah.
So again, thank you.
Yeah. But cool. Okay. So I did want to say the engagement story.
Okay.
Because I didn't get a chance to at the wedding.
Right.
And so this is the yeah.
So you tell it from your side of the story, or do you want me to say?
Yeah, say your side of the story so that I can say mine, because I think mine's more fun.
Okay.
No offense.
No, that's fine. Well, you're the one that planned it, so that's understandable. So a year ago, last summer, 2018, we were still doing skip practices and stuff like that, and we were just busy with school and work and all that stuff and the preparing for the skits and everything. And I had approached you and I had said, hey, do you want to just have a date night, dinner and a movie kind of thing? Because we hadn't really hung out at all in a while. And so we agreed to it. And I think we chose a Sunday.
I think it was a Saturday.
Saturday or Sunday. It was one of the
No. It was a Friday.
It was a Friday?
Yes. I know specifically because I worked that day, which will tie into my story. Go ahead.
Okay. Well, so anyway, so we decided on the Friday, and that's right, because I remember dressing up and going to work that day. It's coming back to me now. So met up with you. We went to this place called Wagyu here in the city. It was kind of a newer place, and I only knew about it through my job since I was working on the Outlook. I always say that wrong.
Right.
My gosh. And I was like, oh, it's Korean barbecue, but with the Japanese flair. Let's give it a try. We like trying new things.
Yeah.
And so went there. No offense, it wasn't nearly as good as obviously what we've had down in the Asian district in Dallas.
Yeah.
Because that stuff is wonderful down there. But it was still an experience.
Yeah.
Nevertheless.
Side note, there is a Korean barbecue place off of I-40 called Maple Korean Barbecue. And that place is a legit Korean barbecue place. Not like Wagyu. So
when did that open?
Because it's all you can eat pretty recently. So we wouldn't have been able to go there anyways. But
right.
Yeah. Sorry, continue.
Well, we might have to go there now.
Yeah.
Shoot. So then we went to go see a movie. We saw The Incredibles 2, which pretty meta as usual.
It was really good.
I mean,
It was not Pixar's best.
No. But I mean, like, again, we've talked about this. I enjoy whenever films are being hella meta, and I feel like Disney likes to do that every now and again. So I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And, like, I know Incredibles was, like, one of your favorite movies. So it's kind of nice seeing, like, the next stage of it, if you will.
I love that superhero stuff.
So that was fun. And then I remember specifically we were walking out to the car. I can't remember if we carpooled or not. I think we might have just... No, I think
we drove separately.
Yeah. We walked out to the cars, and that's when I was trying to say, like, oh, well, I should probably leave. Like, there's stuff I want to take care of, like, for the skit and whatnot. I want to be able to get sleep because I felt there was, like, a time crunch that was going on at the time, and so I was just kind of stressed about it. But
weren't you also still working at H&M?
No, that was when I was at Back 40.
Okay.
So it was like, no.
Didn't you have both?
I had both. Never mind.
So I think maybe you had work early.
Something.
Next day. Like early-ish.
Yeah, something. It was, yeah, I just remember being like I want to hang out a little bit longer, but like I need to get back, go to bed. And I just remember you just being kind of sternly like, no, like I have a surprise for you back at my house. And I just remember like you looking dead serious in my eye. And I was just like, okay. And then like I remember just like putting my hands on either side of your shoulders or on your shoulders, whatever, or your arms, whatever. I just remember you shaking really bad. And you don't normally do that or like ever. And so I was just like, either this guy is gonna propose to me or something is like up for sure. And I regret it to this day. And I should have been jokingly like, what, are you gonna propose to me kind of thing? And I would have been right.
Yeah.
And then we got to your house, which is where we're recording right now. BT dubs. And we just did our normal thing, like just walking to your room. And I opened the door and then I see this layout and I still had the picture on my phone. And you had like this literal paper trail, receipt paper trail from the door over to your nightstand. And I just remember looking and I saw like the Donald Duck plush that you had gotten me. There was like the box on your nightstand. There was a candle and like champagne or sparkling whatever and glasses on your nightstand. And I just stared at it and I was just like awestruck. And then I was like, I need to go to the bathroom. Hold on. And then came back. And that's when you proposed. I said yes.
You said yes, definitely, absolutely.
Yes. Because I had been thinking about it. I was like, if he ever proposed to me, I want to say the one line that's from like Gravity Falls, since that's like one of our shows and whatnot. So, but yeah.
Yeah. That was July 29th.
2018.
Was it 18 or 17? Weren't we proposed for over a year?
Was it?
Yeah. Or engaged. Yeah. I think it was 17.
Oh, man. Okay, yeah. 2017.
Yeah.
I can't think straight. I can't keep my years together. They all blend.
I thought I was the one who didn't keep track of these things. Okay. All right.
So your side.
Okay. Yeah. So you just started from like the date night thing.
Mm-hmm.
I go even further back because I had plans. Back when we both still worked at Sprouts, I had this idea of taking receipt paper and writing our goodnight text on it. At the end of every night, we always say goodnight, I love you, all this sort of stuff to kind of clear out the day And if anything bad happened, if anything good happened, just kind of mention it, how we're glad we got to see each other, or I'm sorry for being stupid earlier, or whatever it might have been. We always clear the air because I always want to make sure that we end every night fresh, and start the next day fresh. So what I wanted to do was write every single goodnight text from the point that I decided that I was going to the night before I proposed to you.
Right.
And so whenever I still worked at Sprouts, one day before I left, I think I was closing that night, and I asked, I can't remember, it was one of the head cashiers. It was Lisa, actually.
Oh, okay.
And I asked her, hey, can I take one of these receipt papers home just for like a thing? And she was like, yeah, I don't see why not. Or she's like, oh, I'm going to check. And then, yeah, you're fine. So I was like, cool. Scheme begin. And so I started to write it every single night. I think it starts in like 2016. There, maybe even 2015. I'd have to check, but that would require unrolling the whole damn thing.
Nobody's got time for that right now.
But I tried writing every single one every night by hand. But that's hard to keep track of. And there were some nights that I like didn't, or a whole bunch of time in a row that I didn't. And so there's actually a point in the receipt paper, if you go all the way through it, that like I just couldn't go far back enough in my phone to like catch up.
Yeah.
And so that time is like lost. But
rip.
Yeah.
That's okay.
But at around 2017, I was like, ooh, I want to propose to her in like May. May came and went, and it was like, crap, there was no time for us to like do a date night or whatever.
Right. May was busy.
Well, because you had finished school.
I think it was like a mixture of finishing school, and I had my big competition down in Dallas.
Yeah. So like it was just a lot.
Yeah.
And so May came and went, and I was like, crap. So then we were like, oh, we need to have a date night. Sure, let's do June. And like if I had planned any better, I would have picked a more memorable day other than June 29th, 2017, because that's just a bunch of random numbers.
Well, it's Ariane's birthday.
Right. But that's not, like, I don't remember when Ariane's birthday is. I just remember when we were engaged. Yeah.
We'll always know now.
Right. But yeah, so at that point in time, once we had set like the date, I was working at ACM as a studio tech.
Right.
And my job as a studio tech was basically sit there and wait until someone needs you.
Right.
Like there was administrative stuff that I would do, but I would basically get there in the morning, take care of all that stuff, and basically throughout the day just wait for emails to come in, wait for people to come ask me questions, because I'm there as essentially tech support and administrative assistant.
Right.
But since I did nothing that day, or most days, the days leading up to our date night, I had typed out all of the goodnight texts and put it into a spreadsheet.
You and your spreadsheets?
Yes, I love spreadsheets. And then for like that whole week, I was writing by hand every single goodnight text from the spreadsheet. And so even the day of our date night, I was like that entire day from like 9 a.m. to like 5 p.m. I was handwriting goodnight texts. And so like I caught up and it was fine. Because I specifically remember that they were doing construction on the bathrooms right there. And so I couldn't be out on the desk in the hallway. And so I holed myself up into the studio that was on the 4th floor. And I remember like Kevin walking by and being like, "What are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, it's like loud over there." And so I put myself in here, but I'm also writing this out because I'm getting engaged today. And he's like, "Oh, well, congratulations." So yeah. And so what I kind of figured for our date night is that we're always kind of going on adventures, trying new things, trying different food places. We always have a goal of ours to like, if we're trying a new food place, we don't want to do any chain restaurants. We want to try like support local food places and stuff like that. And so, hey, this new barbecue place is cool and different. It seems. It turned out to be okay.
Yeah.
And then since Disney is such a big part of your life and therefore a big part of my life, that's why like, oh, Incredibles 2, it's sort of Incredibles 2 was the culmination of a whole lot of build up to like, hey, people our age have been waiting for this for a long time since they left Incredibles 1 with such a like open-ended thing.
Right. I don't remember what else was coming out around that time, like movie-wise, but I just remember that was just like, let's go see it.
Yeah. And so that was kind of the symbolism with our date night. And so, and then the Donald Duck plush that for such a long time you had been like, buy one for me. And I was like, yeah, eventually. And so I was just like waiting for like when we would get engaged so that I would get that. I do remember whenever it came in the mail, I like hid the bag in my closet or whatever just to make sure that you wouldn't find it. And then the ring I had gotten in like March of that year because I'd already decided like it was going to be that year. And the engagement ring is Alexandrite with a sapphire next to it because our colors have always been blue and purple. I'm blue, you're purple.
Right.
But what's interesting about Alexandrite is that it changes colors with different light, kind of showing the dynamic nature of us. Since we've been together for so long, we've grown into different people and all that nonsense. But yeah, so on that day, I had like told my parents like, hey, like I'm going to leave the room this way. I have this candle. Also the candle is Peach Bellini, your favorite scent from Bath and Body Works.
Which still makes me smile that you had that.
And so
yeah, you still have it actually.
Told my parents, yeah, I do. I told my parents like, hey, whenever I'm like heading back here, I'm going to call and make sure that you guys turn the candle on because I'm not going to leave freaking candle on in my room all day. It's asking for a fire to happen.
Right.
So apparently whenever I'd called, like my dad was like, oh, I'll like give them a little sparkling champagne or whatever thing. Because we both don't drink. So it's just like sparkling grape drink something.
I don't even remember. I don't think we even really drank any of it. Or if we did, it was just like a sip.
Yeah. So that wasn't my touch. That was just my dad asserting himself for no reason.
It's fine.
But yeah, so I strung the receipt paper of all of my hard work and pain hand to like strung it around the room to show that I did all that hard work, and then had it end up on or under the box for the engagement ring. And under it, another thing is the little notes that we would leave to each other whenever we worked at the same places, both at Sprouts and at H&M. That we would like if we left work at different times or stopped by there whenever the other was there, we would always leave a little note on each other's car to be like, hey, I love you. Have a good day, whatever. And so I took all the ones that were from you and put them underneath the engagement ring box. And yeah, so all those little tiny gestures to add up to something cute. So it's like, for those of you who are planning to get engaged, you don't have to do some big extravagant thing, because I've always felt that doing a public engagement with like lots of people around is a scummy way of doing it, because you're sort of peer pressuring your partner into saying yes, or else the audience will turn on them.
Right.
And that's not right. At least that's how I feel about it. If you think that like, oh no, it's a show of my, public announcement of I love you, it's like, sure, that's fine. But also if she says no, or he says no, or whoever they, just keep in mind that the audience would turn on them and it would feel really crummy. So just be very sure about yourself if you're going to go the public route.
Right.
I think doing little personal things to show, hey, these are things over time in our relationship that we've sort of gathered together that makes us us, is the way to do it.
Well, and I really liked what you had told me was you knew that I felt the most comfortable here. Like it felt like home. Because for a long while, I wasn't really sure where my home really was, in a manner of speaking, because I think like it was kind of in the midst of still settling at my current home after just moving out from my parents' place, but like never really felt my parents' place was my home or anything. So you always kept saying like, you're welcome here. This is your home. I want you to feel comfortable. And so kind of another reason why.
Yeah. Speaking of why, we're here to talk about marriage. So first of all, why get married? You answer first. I know I'm asking questions, but I'm also going to answer them myself. But go ahead.
Why get married?
Yeah. Or if you want, I can go first.
Well, I mean, I'm just like thinking because like I don't know if there's really a right or a wrong like reason or answer, I should say.
Yeah.
Because like, I mean, yeah, we've been together for 10 years, but like there's other people that are out there that have been together just as long, if not longer, that aren't married, but they're fine.
Yeah.
But I also know, is that lightning?
Yes, it was lightning.
Tight. But also like I know people that have been dating way
less time.
Yes. Hello, thunder. It is raining outside.
Yeah.
But like they're fine and everything. So I guess it just really boils down to, I guess, that commitment that you have with the other person or the comfort with that other person. I know for us, we had always constantly said to each other, I can't wait to spend the rest of my life with you, see where the future takes us. And so I think for us, it was that final step of being official, being
commitment.
Like, yeah, the commitment. So that's just what I think. Like, why?
Yeah. There's also like the practical reasons, which is like, if you file your taxes together, you save money. If something happens to one of you, then your partner can visit you in the hospital because you're one of the close family now, rather than just the girlfriend or the boyfriend.
Right.
And so those are like practical reasons. You can co-sign for each other on a house, stuff like that. That's like, society recognizes formal marriage, so it's useful to us. And if those aren't enough benefits for you in your relationship, then you don't have to get married. And this thing, like you just said, there's lots of people that have been together for a long time and aren't married, and that's totally cool. There's people that have been together for a long time, have kids, have a house together, and still aren't married.
Yeah.
And so it's whatever.
I think it's just really having that kind of like title. I think more so for like the wife or whoever in the relationship like decides to take the other partner's last name. So like in my case, I took your last name. Even though I still liked my maiden name. Still like my maiden name, but we had discussed it how how like in the future, wherever we are, like say, like what you just said, if one of us ends up in the hospital, at least we'd both have the same last name and we can visit each other or help take care of each other or be like, hey, I'm married to this person, let me see them, or like I can make a decision for them.
Yeah.
If like the other's unconscious or something or whatever. So like it makes sense legally.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So like there's that, I guess.
Right. And those pragmatic reasons are also the reasons why gay marriage needed to be legalized. Because, and I think even to a larger extent, I feel like there should just be like a free-for-all like civil union thing. And so I know that there are people who are asexual, aromantic, but maybe they spend all their lives with their best friend. And there's no sexual feelings, there's no romantic feelings, but they literally just like live together and do everything together. Why not just do a civil union? Hey, we'll, co-sign on all of our stuff. We can do our taxes together. They do everything together like a married couple would, but they're just not romantically involved. Yep. I don't see any reason as to why that shouldn't be allowed.
Right.
And so it's just that the tradition of marriage has bled its way into the legal system, and that's some BS. So I mean, I guess a libertarian approach to marriage is something I kind of encourage. But then the other reason of a wedding, why a wedding? And that's the harder part, because we're kind of here to talk about why weddings are stupid.
Now that the like storm of the wedding has finally calmed down.
Although this storm's still here.
Yeah, the one outside is still here. It's building up. I am glad that we had the wedding.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I do agree weddings are overrated. Like, step up on my soapbox about it.
Go for it.
I don't know. Like, well, I guess to start off, I've never been the little girl that always dreamed of her wedding, like ever since I was like 4. Like, I was the flower girl in my cousin's wedding when I was like in elementary school, and I hated it. The shoes stuck. That's the big reason why. Then fast forward to like a few years ago, bridesmaid at one of my best friend's wedding, and I know she had kind of talked about how she wished she would have done things differently. I get it, especially now.
Yeah. A lot of beef can build up.
Yeah. Then was a part of another friend's wedding, but I was the photographer, or like a dual photographer with the best friend that got married. So got to witness that. Witness another friend's wedding that was completely different, where she had it downtown at like a fancy hotel, like historical hotel, which was cool.
Yeah.
Like,
it was just we got to experience a variety of weddings kind of all at once.
Yeah. So like, I don't know. I guess whenever I was in high school, I kind of pictured maybe my theme every now and again, like whatever I was really into. It's like, oh, that would be kind of a cool theme. Like, I'll openly admit, because I'm a nerd, I thought like medieval wedding because I was really big into Lord of the Rings.
Right.
But then I was like, no,
Yeah.
I am not that person.
Well, the indoor chapel at Cole's Garden like a couple years ago would have been perfect for that because that was a freaking dungeon.
It was. But thankfully it got updated.
Shout out to Cole's Garden. We'll be talking about that soon.
Oh, yeah. I'm sure at some point I wanted some sort of like Asian wedding, but nah. So I thought ours was fine theme wise. Well, I mean, even whenever you and I had talked about getting married 5 ever ago, I had said, oh, let's do a Disney themed one. Let's do Princess and the Frog, since that was like our first film together and all this stuff. And I had everything laid out. And then you were like, what if we made it more us, like blue and purple? And I just remember thinking, ew. More so like, not like, oh, it's us. No, it's like the colors. Like I've seen the blue and purple together for like tween parties, and they're not always the greatest. But like being a graphic designer and like seeing more variety in those colors, then I was like, this makes sense. So there is that.
I mean, purple is just the feminine blue.
Right.
If you want to associate that, but yeah.
I went on my tangent and now I don't even remember like what the point was. But what was your question?
What, like the perfect wedding or something like that, or
I guess. I mean,
why have a wedding?
Why have a wedding?
Yeah.
Because society has it in all of us that it's a way of celebrating with friends and family, which is very true. Like, I do like that aspect, but it's like society saying, throw money at this giant party that you're literally throwing for all these people that may or may not be there and be stressed to the nines about it. You have to look a certain way.
Right.
You had to stick with tradition that has been there for years that are a bit obsolete at this point.
I am glad that we watched that Adam Ruins Everything episode about weddings.
Yeah.
Because I feel like that gave us a better perspective about what to do with our wedding.
Right. Well, and there was a bunch of like shows that I would watch, like the wedding shows, like Say Yes to the Dress or For Weddings. That one I appreciated more because it was seeing the different variety and seeing like the DIY wedding or like the super bougie wedding or this and that.
Country wedding and all the...
So your wide variety of themes.
Hate barns.
I would have been okay with a barn, I guess.
I would not have.
But like in hindsight, knowing the day of our wedding, it was cold.
Yeah, that would have sucked.
Yeah, everyone probably would have hated us for that. But I do still remember that there was like one bride that did a lot of things that weren't traditional, and I appreciated that, especially now.
Yeah.
But again, why a wedding, if I can articulate? Because it's expected.
Yeah.
In hindsight, I don't know. Like, I know I'm going to be covering or saying a lot of things that you were going to ask anyway, so it's kind of just meshing at this point.
That's fine.
So we'll just openly discuss everything. I greatly, greatly appreciate everything our parents did for us to help prepare for this wedding, help pay for it, help plan things, you know, just like those little things here and there. Even though majority of it you and I really did, primarily because I didn't want to stress anyone else. Plus, I wanted us to know what we were doing before we would tell other people.
Right.
In hindsight, I would have been fine if we did a small ceremony and even like a smaller party, like reception kind of thing. While I'm still really glad we had everyone show up that did, and thank you again to everyone that showed up. Like, I was kind of bummed, like, some people didn't make it, or like, we thought they were, but they didn't, or this and that. And I understand. Our wedding was on a Thursday because we saved literally at least $2,000 like from our venue for having it on a Thursday.
Yep.
But like because it was on a Thursday, I understand that's harder for people to get off or they still have work the next day, all kinds of stuff. Our ceremony started at 5:30 and I know some people were kind of running a bit late.
Yeah.
So we were already not being traditional for one thing with that.
Can I like hold that thought?
Yes.
Because I want to answer the question, why have a wedding?
Okay. Yes. Sorry. I've been
You're
going
fine.
on a tangent.
Kind of what you were saying. It is like there is the whole society expects you to thing. And I have that in my mind. But then I also kind of tried to justify it for myself and just find a reason for myself so that I can be happy about it. And so for me, I kind of settled on it's a public celebration of our commitment to each other.
Right.
We've been together this long. It's a public celebration of our relationship, of having friends and family get together, and we're all here celebrating us.
Right.
And so why have a wedding? So that we have an excuse to get all of these people together and be happy about it.
True. Yeah.
The expense is not quite worth it.
No.
But that's kind of out of our control.
Yeah.
And so we'll get back to the thing that you said. So process. After
Oh boy.
yeah. After getting engaged, there's some things that you have to take care of. So the first thing was the venue.
Yes. No.
What?
We needed a date first.
Right. That's true.
So
Before we could even book
yeah.
a venue, we needed a date. Yeah. And so you kind of mentioned it already, but we decided on a Thursday wedding. One, it was going to be cheaper.
Yes.
We saved about $1,000 to $2,000 just by having it on a Thursday.
Yeah.
And that was like pretty much for every venue that we looked at. The weekday wedding was significantly cheaper than
a Friday
or Saturday. Yeah. Sundays were actually a little bit cheaper.
Not as cheap as like a Thursday, but
right.
Still cheaper than Friday, Saturday, because those are the prime days.
Yeah. So that was the thing. And Thursday was special for me because ever since high school, I would dress up on Thursdays and dress nice. So some of my friends called it Fancy Thursdays, but I just called it Thursday. People would be like, "Why are you so dressed up?" And I'd be like, "It's Thursday." So that was a fun thing, like a fun holdover from high school that I still occasionally did in college. So cool, Thursday.
Right.
And then kind of looking at the calendar, it was like October 10th, 10/10.
Yeah.
Because we'd kind of talked like, oh, fall wedding, because you don't want it too hot, because in Oklahoma it gets in like the hundreds. And so it's like
awful.
Yeah. So you want to do a July or August wedding? No, not really.
That's the one time I definitely put my foot down. I was like, I am not a nice person if I am overheated. And plus, I'm wearing white. I don't want sweat showing through my dress. Gross.
And then, as we see right now, if you get too far into the cold seasons, then it's super freaking cold.
Yeah.
And I hate the cold.
We both hate the cold.
Yeah. But I'm a tropical being, so...
Tropical folk.
Yes. I didn't want cold, so anything past October was going to be a complete nope.
Well, and we didn't... I think we had talked about maybe like spring, but it was still always unsure. Because here in Oklahoma, the weather is hella unpredictable. Like, supposedly today it's going to snow. Supposedly. I don't know if it is or not. I never believe it until it happens.
It's October.
It's October.
Why are you doing this?
But so like I think last I saw like 37 degrees outside, but like by Saturday it's going to be like 50s to 60.
Mm-hmm.
So like it's always a running joke that Oklahoma is bipolar, that the weather can never make up its mind. We go through, I don't know, all the seasons in one day or 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
So like we just never knew. And especially here in the Midwest, spring is usually tornado season. Also, all the rain, it's awful. I have allergies in the spring. You get allergies a bit.
Not
and
really.
it's just
kind of stuffy.
Right. But it's just really unpredictable because like, sure, it's spring, but like we never know if it's going to be a hot spring or a cold spring. And then we get god-awful summers and then kind of fall and then dead of winter.
Right. It was, this year, we just skipped fall and jumped directly into winter, apparently.
Pretty much. I mean, also, like, one of the big stressors was literally on our wedding day, it was predicted that it was going to be like a 60 to 70% chance of rain.
Right.
And I just remember thinking, I hate this. We have our ceremony outside. That's why we bought the place, the venue, because Cole's Garden has a few choice areas out in their outdoor area. And the one that I loved was this huge hedge, like square that just like removed you from everything else. It was like very Alice in Wonderland meets like Secret Garden. And I loved it. And to think like, crap, we won't be able to have it out there, but have it inside the chapel that luckily they like refurbished. But it's still just like, I wanted the outdoor ceremony. Right. But luckily, the universe was on our side. It was sunny. And
it was just cold.
It was cold. It was because of the wind. There was a lot of wind. But we had our ceremony outside.
Yeah. But going back.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yes, we did eventually land on Cole's Garden.
Yes.
But so yes, we decided on October 10th. Mainly for me, because I'm bad at remembering dates. So 10-10, I can't get in trouble. There's always the running stereotype that the husband always forgets the anniversary. I can't get in trouble. So yes, October, because the fall is at least slightly predictable with pretty warm until it gets cold, and then it just stays cold.
Yeah.
And October 10th seemed early enough in October that it'll probably just be warm by then.
Or at least like comfortable.
And we like October 10th was the day that Oklahoma decided to be like, oh, so it's fall now, right?
Yeah. But then it's like the next day it was like warm again. So it's just like, what the hell?
Yeah. Oh no, the next day was still cold because I remember leaving Jimmy's Egg and still being like, ugh.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. It was the weekend that it was warm.
But anyways, we arrived at Cole's Garden because it was the most bang for your buck. The fact that we got the entire place for that price was top notch.
Right. So the nice thing about Cole's Garden, if you're in the Oklahoma area, OKC area, it's far enough away from kind of like a lot of the craziness of the city. It's a gated venue. So also it's private. But it's like real close to the Cowboy Hall of Fame, if any of you know where that is.
Right.
And big enough parking lot. It has this really cool entrance where it opens up to their covered patio, which has a dual-sided giant fireplace to keep warm at night. They have lights that are up year-round for nighttime. You go to like the left whenever you enter. That's where the chapel is. It's like a smaller little area.
We don't have to describe the entire place.
I know, but still, I'm not going to describe all of it. Then you got the reception area, which is where we had our reception, and dancing area, even though it was a small dance floor for
we had
us.
to move it inside because it was cold.
Yeah, the patio was going to be our dance floor, but that did not work out. And then a big outdoor area with a pond, the hidden garden, whatever, and a few other choice spots. So very nice area. I felt it encompassed everything that we wanted.
It also, one big thing, because we had decided that like, oh, well, my parents know how to manage cooking in large amounts. So my parents are going to be the ones that are going to cook for it. And so that was actually something that knocked out a whole bunch of other venues.
Yeah.
They were like, no, you have to have like a caterer. And we're like, I don't have that kind of money. So
a caterer, or like if it's a specific place, you had to cater from them.
Right. If that place had like a restaurant there, you had to cater from that restaurant.
Right.
Hello there, art museum and zoo.
I know. Those were also kind of our top choices just
Right.
because it's us. But no, Cole's definitely delivered a lot more. And huge, huge, huge shout out to David over there. He has been nothing but a saint helping us. He was our specialist, like sweetest guy ever, like really easy to talk to. And he helped us out with everything and helped us like consider stuff that I don't think we even thought about.
But then also like was able to like, yeah, he's super sweet, but then also was able to like, hey, like he was able to wrangle people and be like, hey, we're doing this now. You have to do this.
Yeah, definitely. Like
and
took charge.
Yeah, that was super helpful too.
Yes.
So. But then there was also like, we're in Oklahoma, and so a lot of venues were like Western themed, and so barns on barns on barns. And it's like, hey, you want to pay like $10,000 for a freaking barn? And I'm like, I could build one for cheaper than this.
Right.
I mean, I'm exaggerating, but only a little.
It's not your aesthetic.
Right.
I mean, it's not necessarily mine, but like I don't mind it.
I do. So
I know.
That was out of the question. But yeah, we're in Oklahoma, and it's like, y'all are cowboys, right? Here's a barn. Or there's also a barn. Or you might also try this barn. Yeah.
I think you don't like barns.
Yeah. Yeah. That's fine.
Or like, yeah, there were like other places that weren't barns that seemed kind of cool. Like there were some spots downtown that we were even considering, but like
got expensive.
And like just also our friend that did have her wedding down there. Like, again, it was a really cool venue, but like I think a game was going on that night too.
Right.
And so parking just sucked.
Yeah, you have to consider what all is around and going on. Yeah. So again, Cole's Garden was great because it was like off to the side. It's like people know it as like the zoo area. And so like it's spacious enough. People know where it is. It's easy to get to. It's right by the highway. Yeah. All that nonsense. What else was part of the process? Food, which we said my parents would make.
Our cake.
Yeah, our cake. And
Rip.
Again, we're kind of meshing together some of these talking points, but like one of the ways that we defied tradition was that, I mean, we had gone to a series of different weddings and we kind of noticed that no one eats the cake.
It's like, out there for everyone to get, but like
no one gets it.
No one gets it, or like I just don't remember it. Of the 3 weddings that I listed earlier, like I remember the cakes, but I don't remember eating them. Or if I ate them, it wasn't like, oh my God, that was like the greatest cake ever.
Right.
And looking into how much a cake costs, like if you want to do the multi-tier, it's a lot.
Right.
Or like there is the option of you making your own cake, but then it's like, do you make one that's big enough for everybody or just for you and your partner or whatever? And so we just opted for like, well, frick, let's just get our own. That's just our own cake.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll have something else for everyone else. And
Mhm.
so we did an ice cream cake for ourselves. We ordered it to be decorated in like a simple way. And then we
And
finished.
we kind of decorated it ourselves
Yeah. I'm glad I took a picture of it
before it
melted. Rip. Because by the time it came out, it was melting. It was still good.
Yeah.
I still don't know where it ended up. It probably obviously got pitched out by now. But yeah, it was good. But also like we're not big sugar eaters anymore. So like we didn't want like a full cake. And you're not a cake person either.
Yes, Sable is the reason that I ask cake or pie at the end of the podcast. She's cake, I'm pie.
Yep.
Not that I've taken count anytime recently, but pie is definitely winning.
Whatever. But we got Baked Bear, which is kind of a local, well, I thought a local place here in Oklahoma, ice cream sandwiches for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
We asked everyone who got our save the dates, like, hey, go RSVP at this
Online.
link. Tell us your top flavors of cookies and ice cream so we know what we can order.
Yeah.
You know, and we would order the top 4 of each one.
Yeah.
And a lot of people did tell me like it worked out. A lot of those cookies were nearly gone.
Mm-hmm.
There was still some left over, but it really helped.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people really enjoyed that. So consider that in the future to anyone who is going to be planning a wedding. Like,
You don't have to get a giant cake.
yeah, because also you don't want the bride and groom to just be sitting on like this cake for like a month and be sick of it.
Right.
Like spend hundreds to $1,000 on cake and it just go bad.
Right.
Just saying.
Yeah. Well, we did also spend a lot of money on that baked bear. So that was the thing too.
But I was kind of willing to do that because also we had 2 people from Bates Bear come and
yeah. And they came and serviced the thing.
Yeah, like they were there for 2 hours, but that was more than enough, I feel. And again, yeah, by having the 2 employees there, they made whatever concoction that each of our guests wanted. Yeah. So that way they wouldn't be going through piles of like contained ice cream sandwiches that were melting or whatever.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
So to me, it was kind of worth it. It was kind of like, because we didn't do wedding favors either. Mm-hmm. So in a way, that was kind of like their wedding favor.
Yeah.
In my mind.
Sure.
So I didn't mind spending a little bit more.
Yeah. You had mentioned invitations and RSVPs and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. Another way that we defied tradition is instead of having like the envelope with the invitation and another envelope that you have the card for your RSVP that you mail back, and then we know and we just build up this giant pile of papers. We were just like, hey, let's just send people invitations, which I still have a lot of left over.
I've been noting that. I think I still have a bit too.
Yeah. I mean, it's fine. Like it was worth it because they look good.
Yeah.
We just went to like a printing place that, like, you know, if you want to print posters or business cards or whatever, you can just do it that way. Instead of going to like a fancy, like, ooh, we do wedding invitations here. Here's, you know, $1,000 for a freaking blah, blah, blah. Like, nah, we just, since we both have websites, we just put a page on your website.
On mine,
that was a private link that if you just follow the link, that's the thing on the RSVP or on the invitation, then you can RSVP online through a Google form, which is also free. So
not sponsored.
Yeah. Well, no, but it's just like instead of getting more paper and dealing with the postage and all that nonsense, just do it online.
Yeah.
The other nice part about doing it through a Google form is that it all gets condensed into one big file that you can actually look at and look at the statistics of like how many people are going, how many people aren't going, how many people are going just to the reception, how many just to the ceremony, all that nonsense. And then we also put the ice cream and cookie flavors on there so that we could have a poll there so we could decide. And so having all of that in one place rather than just having a pile of RSVPs that people have mailed back that we're just going to like throw away afterwards.
Yeah, that's like wasted money. Because like, I don't need any more paper stuff. I know you don't either. So it's like, this is a lot easier. We're all in a digital age.
Yeah.
Like anyone with a phone or a computer is able to literally go to this link.
Yeah.
And it's not a hard link either. So like, sorry, it's just like, because we pass these out to people, like either in person or like drop them off in mailboxes, whatever.
There did come a point where it was like, crap, I didn't get a chance to like get an invite to people. So I literally just sent them the link. It's like, hey, sorry, I couldn't get you a physical one. Here's the link. Please
Exactly.
RSVP.
Yeah. But I don't know if there was just confusion or whatever. I don't know if it's the expectation that people have, like they're wanting the multi-paper thing, invite, whatever. Because I know there's save the date and then there's the invite that you get, but it's like we just did it in one. And maybe we should have said something other than save the date on the front. Maybe like, you're invited.
Or sometimes like people didn't even look at the other side sometimes.
Yeah.
And so it's like, here's a picture of us and it says save the date.
Yeah.
And people are like, cool. But it's like, what do I do with this? And it's like, just flip it over.
Yeah.
See our names, tells you where and when it is. And to
plain as
RSVP,
day.
here's this link.
Yeah. Plain as day at the bottom. Super clear to RSVP. Follow this link.
Obviously, we're a little salty about it, but it's really just because like we tried making it as simple as possible.
Yeah.
And somehow people still didn't.
Yeah.
To those of you that did, thank you.
Yes.
But for real, we tried making it as simple as possible. So, I mean.
And again, you and I have talked about this prior. Devil's advocate, like, again, I understand our wedding was also on a Thursday. So, like, if people just didn't respond because they were like, oh, no, like, I can't. Like, even if you had just said no, we would have been cool with it. Like, we understand.
Yeah.
But, like.
But at least let us know.
Yeah. I mean, I was kind of getting, not necessarily backlash, but kind of hearing, like, oh, like, some friends and family, like, we were having issues getting it to them or whatever. Like, I heard through the grapevine, and I was like,
you could just text them the link.
I guess. I don't know.
Like,
I don't know.
Literally, there were lots of people that a month from our wedding date, I sent a whole bunch of texts and messages being like, hey, sorry I didn't get a physical invite to you. Here's the link. Please RSVP.
Right.
And to the people that I had already sent invites to, I told them, hey, please remember to RSVP. So it's like, we keep going the extra mile so that it's easiest for everyone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for those of you that are planning on getting married soon or working on your wedding, keep in mind that there is going to be a percentage of people that don't RSVP. And you just have to factor that in. We planned for the maximum number of people.
Yeah.
And it did lead to some lost cash, basically. That we over-prepared and had a lot of stuff left over. And that kind of sucks.
Yeah. I mean, I guess better to be over-prepared, but at the same time, like, I don't know if even half of the maximum showed up. Which, again,
which is weird because more people RSVP'd than that.
Yeah. And, like, again, devil's advocate, as I said before, I get it. It's a Thursday. It's a weird day. Maybe people just forgot and they were like, oh, crap. Well, it's too late. I'm not going to go. Whatever. I get it. We're all adults. We all have our excuses, whatever they may be, or, like, our reasonings or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, we're still bummed. Like, I'll be honest. I'm bummed that there were certain people that didn't show up. You know. But it's like, I get it. Or like, if anyone had reached out to me and said like why they couldn't make it, I was completely fine with it.
Right, yeah.
Like I was cool with that. But
and that I appreciate even more.
Yeah. But like those that just didn't say anything and I was expecting them to show, it's like, oh, well, okay.
Right.
You know, so things happen.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Since we've been mentioning it a whole lot, traditions.
Yes.
Other ways that we defied tradition, the ceremony. So if you are a regular listener of the podcast, you know that I am not religious. And a lot of our family and friends are. And so something that I found really important to do is to make the wedding really special without religion. And so I had my brother, Jesus, who's been on the podcast, Moodicious, who is also not religious, be our officiant. Whenever I asked him to do that, I didn't quite know the extent of like the work that required.
Right.
But he completely delivered, and I'm really happy about that.
Me too. I was actually really excited. The more like leading up to it, I was like, it's going to be good.
Yeah.
I trust him.
Right. And so, I mean, if you're going to have a friend or family officiate, that isn't someone who's like an actual pastor or minister or whatever, keep in mind, it is a lot of work.
Yeah.
If they're not necessarily a public speaker or they're not a good writer or whatever it might be, they might not be the best person for it. And so I acknowledge that I did give Jesus a challenge, but he completely delivered. But yeah, if you think that maybe your friend or sibling or whoever it might be is like, you like the idea of them officiating, but you don't know if they'd be up to the task, just go with either a professional or maybe one of your friends that you think is a little bit more geared towards that. What I think made it really special is that Jesus is a role model for me. And so something in the whole thing of he's my oldest brother, he's someone I look up to, he has always shared views that I greatly agree with, and he said a lot of really beautiful things that I think will stick with us forever.
Yeah, definitely. And I hope they also stick with our guests as well.
Yeah. And this is something that we keep mentioning, and we're probably going to keep mentioning it forever. But one of the biggest things or points that he made was discussing invisible lines. And there's lots of invisible lines that divide us and bring us together. And that day we cross an invisible line. And so we've mentioned to each other like the concept of invisible lines a whole lot since then. And so that was a really cool thing. But it was super special because it was a lot of beautiful things that he said in a not religious way. And to me, that was really significant.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
And I'd like to add to it, like, he also made it very chill and, like, comfortable.
And fun and funny.
Yeah. Like, because most traditions, it's like, oh, you have to be super prim and proper and, like, do
There's
this and
a
that.
way of doing it.
Yeah. We've been to 2 church weddings. We've been to a Catholic wedding and what was...
Let's just say Protestant.
Okay. Because I can't remember. And like those are super kind of like strict kind of structured.
These are things that have to happen.
Yeah. And I don't know, like, while they can be beautiful and traditional, like, it was really nice to kind of have something that was very meaningful to us, that was hopefully rememberable to our friends and family. And I don't know, it's like, it's okay to laugh at a wedding, like, have little moments that just make it interesting or memorable or something, you know, like little tidbits here and there that also allowed us to be comfortable, because like you always hear stories of like the bride or the groom like passing out because they're just, you
So
know,
stressed.
stressed and frozen up there. Their knees are locked, and it's just like, we're all like, you made it. It's fine. Just breathe, you know?
Right. And it's also like not a big deal.
No.
Like, I mean, it is a big deal, but it's not a big deal.
After going through it, yeah, it wasn't a big deal.
Because like,
and this is coming from someone who hates being in like the spotlight.
Right. Well, because I remember whenever you were saying your vows, I was like listening, but I was also noticing that the microphone in front of you was like slipping.
Yeah.
And I was like, keep going. I'm going to adjust the mic because I'm, you know, the audio engineer and all that nonsense. But it's like, does that ruin the moment? Is the magic gone? No. It was like a funny thing.
Yeah.
And it would have been worse if the mic fell.
Right.
So like,
yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah. So yeah, I really appreciated that. And like, I appreciated that Seuss had even contacted us before, being like, how do you want to remember your ceremony? How do you want your guests to remember it?
Yeah. And then speaking of vows, we wrote our own vows. And so yours were short, but
sorry,
it's okay. It's still us. And it was very us. And since I told the story about the receipt paper thing, about all of our goodnight messages, I had made a point to, so I typed out my vows, and then once I felt good about them, I was going to handwrite them on the other side of the receipt paper that all of these goodnight text messages were on. And so you had written your vows on like cardstock paper.
Yeah, fancy cardstock that I found.
And I wrote it on that receipt paper. And so whenever you pulled yours out on your dress that had pockets, I pulled out that receipt paper and like unfurled the whole thing. So that was a fun thing.
You're ridiculous.
I love you.
I love you.
Sorry, were you going to say something about?
No.
I at least had a goal that I wanted to make you cry and make someone in the audience cry. I think I succeeded.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Do you have any like tips for people who are writing their own vows?
I mean, just have it be from the heart. I mean, I feel like I didn't say enough in mine. But like, it honestly had been like something I had been thinking in my head for a long time, and I would like say it out loud, like in the car, like if I was heading home by myself or something. And so I don't know. I don't want to sit here saying like, oh, I'm like great at like writing stuff out. I'm like, I'm really not. I like to think that I am sometimes, but I'm not. But I don't know. I hope that you enjoyed what I had to say, even though it was short.
Yeah.
And everything, and threw in a little bit of some cheesy, nerdy lines in there at the end. But like, I don't know. Well, it's hard.
Right.
I'll admit.
But I'll say on that, yeah, really make it from the heart, as you're saying. Make it you.
Yeah.
Like for us, it was us. And for me, I wanted to make people laugh. And then I had things, as I'm sure you had things, that like I had to say.
Right.
And so like it was imperative that I say these things. And so if you are a regular listener of the podcast, I put my 3 things in the podcast or in my vows. I do put my 3 things in the podcast, but more importantly, I put them in the vows. And I put like, you know, some references or just I spoke from the heart, but also made sure to stick to who I am.
Right.
And who we are.
Mm-hmm.
So do you. Other traditions, trying to think.
We didn't do like it's not really tradition anymore, but I guess maybe more so in churches. The traditional like Here Comes the Bride song or whatever the song is that they walk out on like after they're done.
Yeah.
We didn't do that. Plus I'm like tired of those songs. I've heard them before. They're awful.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah, we picked a lot of our own music. And, I mean, I'm a musician and
also I can't remember if we had agreed on it before, but I completely forgot. But then while we were doing our vows, you had the prelude playing, which I appreciate.
Prelude from the Final Fantasy games.
Yes.
It was an arrangement that I did real quick, but it was like my own synthy-ness with it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
We used, like for the ceremony, a lot of your original music. I wanted to come in on the main song or the only song that was played in Paper Man. It was the short before Wreck-It Ralph, because that's like a really close like short to my heart. And I feel like we both really enjoyed it. Then we wanted to end it on In Your Light by Gautier, because like Gautier has been kind of like our one like musician that we kind of listen to. Yeah. Or like have always sung at least together. We have other musicians that we love. What else?
Which, by the way, if you haven't listened to anything else by Gautier other than Somebody That I Used to Know, get in on that.
Yeah.
Because Gautier is great.
He is. I would go see him in concert easily.
If he's still touring. I think he tours with his other band, but yeah.
We didn't have your traditional flower girl because one, we do know like some kids in our lives.
Not very many. And how old is Holly, your cousin?
I always forget her age.
She's not a small child, is the thing.
She's not.
She's a tween, and so it's like...
Or almost a tween.
Right. So it's like, it's not within the cuteness scale for a flower girl.
I guess. And then Maddie has her kiddos, like her siblings. Like she said that we could have had one of the girls do it.
Yeah, I'm really close to them anyway, so.
I mean, I kind of am more than you are, but like at the same time, like I was a flower girl. I don't want to put anyone through that at that age. So we put your friend Z as our flower guy. And I didn't get to see him rocking it. I saw the aftermath that looked beautiful. Yeah. But I know you enjoyed it.
So I
hope Griff got that on camera.
The main reason I had Z be our flower girl, he wasn't the flower man or the flower boy. He was the flower girl. Is for precisely the reason that he did. Is I wanted him to angrily glare at me while just kind of tossing flowers out of the basket and just being like, screw you, man. Why are you making me do this? That's exactly why. And he did exactly what he needed to do. It was perfect.
Yes.
Because it would be funny.
Yes.
And it was. And it was great.
And he knew he was perfect for it, too.
Exactly. No, whenever I asked him to, he knew. So, and that's the nice part, is that I have a lot of close friends. And so I tried to find different ways of involving more of my close friends.
Right.
So that was a great way of involving Z.
Yeah.
And being like, hey, you're a part of my wedding. You've been one of my best friends for forever. So angrily toss flowers out of the
Out of a basket
while you're walking down the aisle.
Yes. What else? Seuss didn't announce us as Mr. and Mrs. like Ramones or anything.
Right. He announced us as Sable and Santiago, but now they're married.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he gave us the choice, but I was just like, that option is too perfect.
Yeah.
Because like, still at the time, like I wasn't even 100% sure. Like, well, I mean, like, obviously I had already decided to take your name, but like, I still wasn't really sure like how we should be addressed because you had said like, well, she's not me, so we're not going to say.
Right. I don't like whenever people do like Mr. and Mrs. Santiago Ramones. It's like, that's not.
Yeah. I'm not you.
Yeah, she's not me.
And again, it was just like another little touch that's just us kind of being silly and whatnot.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. Other things that sort of have to happen for the wedding is a photographer and now in the modern age, well, really since like camcorders were a thing, video had to be a thing. And a DJ had to be a thing.
Yes.
So we did get a professional photographer because that's something that lasts forever.
Yes.
And you've been a fan of Brandon Burton's photography for a while anyways.
Yes. He's a lot of fun. I had actually tried to work for him at one point and like it didn't make it, and that's perfectly fine. I could still like learn under him apparently. But I've seen his work a lot and I was like, I really love what he does. Let's get in on that. And as soon as like you had actually proposed, I saw that he was like, hey, like
we're doing a deal.
Yeah, we're doing a deal. And I was like, like, let me get this guy.
Yeah.
And that's when he was like, but I need a date and a venue first, and then we'll talk. And I was like, crap, okay.
Yeah.
So that kind of also progressed like a lot of stuff, like way in advance. But no, he was wonderful. Our deal allowed us to have a second photographer. And so he actually just put out some teaser images from our wedding up on Facebook. And I'm currently off Facebook for personal reasons, but like it was through work that my manager had said like, oh my God, I saw like your photos. They look so good. And I was like, what? I haven't even seen them. And so she showed me, and like, I'm actually really happy with how the ones look so far. And it's still going to be a little bit of a ways before we get all of ours, but like, I feel comfortable now.
Yeah.
Because like, I'm pretty self-conscious of myself. Like, I'm not happy of how I look sometimes. So like after a while I was like, oh God, was my posture good? Oh God, like did I give like double chins, or like how's this gonna look? But like after seeing what he has, like I feel good.
You looked fucking gorgeous. Now I gotta put an explicit tag on the podcast, but I don't care. Yeah.
You've cursed on this podcast before. It's fine.
No, I know, but I was like, there's certain ones that I try and keep curse free or whatever. But yeah, that's fine.
Whatever. But yeah, so pretty happy. I'm excited to see the ones with you in it, and then I'm really excited to see like how like our big bridal party look, especially on the couch. My one huge splurge that I did. I'm very happy.
Rented a nice vintagey blue couch.
Yeah,
nice.
And then we had a videographer, which we thought we were going to get that as part of the deal with our photographer. It wasn't, which that became kind of a stressor. But I had thought like, wait, you're going to be doing like a project later that involves videography. What about getting that guy involved? And he pretty much like jumped on it as soon as you asked him. Yeah. And he was really cool. Looks like he had a pretty good camera. He had like a stabilizer and everything. So I was just like, okay, this guy knows what he's doing.
Yeah. Griff Stafford, if you need video stuff, I have business cards for him, but like you can also just find him on the social medias. He also plays in Useless Randy. So that's another way that you can. So he's been on the podcast.
Yes. So much thanks to him for taking care of all that.
Yeah. Especially in such short notice. But
yeah.
And then Campbell Young,
Yes.
also been on the podcast. I'm seeing a pattern here.
Yeah.
It
helps that you know people.
Yeah. Well,
that can do
audio
a lot
and
of
visual stuff is what I've been involved in, mostly audio. And so
Yes.
it's like, hey, I know audio people. So if there's anything that I know about Campbell Young is that he knows how to party.
Yes.
So I wanted to have Campbell DJ the wedding. I was actually originally going to have Trevor Lindley, who's also been on the podcast, DJ our wedding, but he moved to Chicago, so that's fine.
But
I
Campbell
miss Trevor.
still did really well.
Campbell did a great job. He stuck around, kept the playlist going while we were still like cleaning up.
Mm-hmm. We'll also talk about that as well.
Yeah. But yeah, it was nice to have a close friend and multiple close friends be involved in the thing so that we know how to communicate with each other. We know a little bit more of like, hey, what do you need? We can like work out all of that stuff better rather than if it's like a stranger, then you're kind of like, well, I don't know if I should like ask them. I don't know if this will bother them or something, you know, since.
Or you get the case like what happened with Cheryl, who got a DJ that ended up playing
a song that she didn't want. Yeah.
She says that the only time that he played her music was like towards the end of the night. Everything was like his. And we were in a church and playing like some pretty raunchy music. And it's just like, there's a picture of Jesus coming out of the water over there. Great.
Totes would have had dirty versions of our music, but it's fine. But actually, no. Let's talk about it.
What?
My favorite part of the wedding was the ceremony. The reception was a mad, like, rush to try and squeeze the things in. We had planned trivia, but the weather was bad, and so they had to move the thing inside, and so the trivia didn't happen.
Oh, it didn't happen?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it, like, started, but then David went out there and was like, hey, we need to move inside because no one really wants to be outside anyways. So then they moved it inside, so the trivia didn't really happen. Yeah.
Boo! I thought it did happen.
Nah, dog.
Well, sorry, y'all.
Yeah. I guess we could do that some other time if you want.
We had all the questions and everything. Boo.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm a madman, and I wrote up a whole bunch of trivia questions to be fun for while we were taking pictures.
Well, so, like, friggin' we had everything set up. So, like, for our wedding, it was a dry wedding because we don't drink. I do feel like a lot of our guests actually do. Sorry, guys. We didn't want to have to pay for that and whatnot. So, like, we had talked to David, like, what else could we do? So we had this whole thing called Party on the Patio. And we were thinking, okay, like, what kind of games could we do to entertain everyone while we're doing photos? We don't want a recap of, like, what happened at our friend's wedding where she had a whole bunch of old biddies that were like, where are they? Like, it's our time. Because, oh, God forbid that the bridal party take their photos. That's going to last forever.
Right.
Anyway. So we had planned out trivia that people could partake in or watch. I had one of our friends do cornhole boards for people to go play games. I forgot to bring them anyway, but we were going to do like board games. People could also do whatever, you know, just to entertain people until our hour was up and then we could eat and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's a bummer that trivia didn't happen.
Stuff happens. Weather was bad.
Yeah.
Can't control the weather. This is something that, again, if you are planning your own wedding or are considering getting married in the future, keep in mind that there are some things that are out of your control.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do about it. So accept it right now.
Yeah. Weddings do kill the perfectionists, I must say, at least on my part, because I'm a perfectionist.
Not everything's going to be perfect.
No. Like, there's stuff I still wish that could have gone differently. But in the end, I was just like, I just want to get down that aisle. I just want the night to be over so I don't have to deal with this stress anymore.
Yeah. But on the reception and still talking about ways that we defied tradition. Instead of doing a first dance, we did a first song. And so
that was the most stressful and terrifying thing I've ever done in my life.
I'm sorry.
I'm glad I did it, but like, I know it didn't sound that great because I was so scared. Because like, it was one thing to practice with you and practice at John's house, which thank you, John, again, for letting us practice at your house.
Jonathan Edwards, who's been on the podcast and who I work for at the moment. But yeah.
But like, to have everybody there, and I'm just like, oh no, I'm not a performer. But I mean, it's terrifying if you're not used to that.
But the thing is that you're at a wedding.
Yeah.
It's your wedding.
I know.
Everyone knows that we're nervous. So it's like, if you cry while you're singing, it's cool. We're all emotional here.
Yeah.
But something that Sean Canale told me at the wedding, who's been on the podcast? He plays drums for Don't Tell Dina. He was like, yeah, whenever I'm at weddings and they're doing a first dance, I kind of feel like I'm forced to just kind of watch them and smile, but it's awkward and long, which is the thing that we talked about.
Yeah.
But you guys doing the song like actually made me smile.
Oh.
And so that's something that I'm really happy about because it was very us. We did a medley of Disney songs and musical theater songs and one of my songs in there. And so I arranged the whole, like I orchestrated the whole thing and put it all into Ableton, made a medley for us. And we rehearsed it a while and sang it.
Yeah.
But it was very emotional and very heartfelt and very us.
Yeah.
And so that's the biggest thing. We were always trying to defy tradition to make it more us.
Yes.
What are the things about wedding traditions that we like and don't like? Let's get rid of everything that we don't like and keep all the things that we do like.
Right. Like, to kind of sum it up, we took out the bouquet toss, the garter toss. We didn't do the individual like dance with our parents. So like the father-daughter, son-mother dance.
For the same reason that like it's awkward to watch other people dance for like a 3-minute song. But it's usually a ballad, so it's like a 5-minute song.
Yeah. Or it's just like, because David had pointed out like sometimes the relationships aren't really that good. He had a bride whose dad like basically walked out. And she was just standing up there whenever they were like, it's the father-daughter dance. And like, he wasn't even there.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. It can be kind of awkward, especially like if your relationship with your parent isn't that great. Like I know yours and with your mom is good. I feel like my relationship with my dad is becoming better after it being like kind of weird for a while, because I think we were trying to figure out where we were in each other's lives. Things are fine now. Like I couldn't be happier. But like I did want to at least make sure at one point during the reception, him and I danced together, even if it was with a bunch of people around us.
Right.
And like I think he really liked that.
Right.
And I like that too.
Yeah, and that's a very different thing from forcing everyone to watch you two dance together.
Yeah.
It says a different thing. And so it's like, to keep this point going, if there's something in tradition that you feel doesn't work for you, take it out.
Yeah. It's your day. You don't have to stick to this tradition that's been there for years. Like, we're in 2019, getting ready to go into 2020. Like, screw society. Like, have it be you. You're the one that's literally paying all this time and money.
Right.
Like, have it be the way you want it.
Yeah. Tradition is peer pressure from dead people. They can't
basically
enforce anything on you, so whatever.
Right. What else?
I did a thing for you, and this was something that I had decided whenever I was still Catholic, and I had heard about through like different people talking about weddings, but it stuck with me, and I decided a long time ago that I wanted to do this on my wedding day, which was I heard a story about a groom who surprised the bride by washing her feet in front of everyone in to relate to the symbolism of Jesus washing the feet of the disciples. And so in marriage and tradition and all that stuff, people talk about like, oh, the woman is subservient to the man. And I want to defy that as much as possible. You and I are partners. And so to get rid of that, I wanted to wash your feet to show I'm here for you. And so that was something that I felt was necessary to happen. It's not like a tradition thing. It was just something that I really wanted to do.
Yeah.
But the madness that ensued with that is that since it was a Thursday, everyone was leaving kind of all at once. As soon as one person started leaving, everyone else was like, oh, okay, well, it's, getting kind of late. It was like 8.
Yeah, it was early. And we even did like the shoe game to try and also keep things going. But yeah, it's kind of like in the midst of the chaos, and this is kind of like where I also agree. Like, I enjoy the ceremony far more than the reception, because the reception, with everyone's wedding I've heard, it's the most chaotic part because the bride and groom are being met with everybody, being congratulated, whatever. They want to try and see like everyone, or they want to see certain people or this or that. It's like their attention's everywhere, but they also had to keep to like the other things that are going on. So like the first dance, bouquet toss, garter toss, other dances, whatever. There's like a million things that they're trying to do, cutting the cake, whatever. And so like that's how I kind of felt it was for us. Like, I know you didn't see certain people, but I did, or vice versa.
Right. I didn't talk to like hardly anyone.
Yeah.
The only people that I got to talk to were the people that were just assertive enough to just walk up.
Yeah.
And those are the people who I talked to.
Yeah.
And so, and that's the thing, that made it hard for me to walk around to every single table and like say hi to all my friends.
Right. Or like there were friends that you knew better than I did, or vice versa. Or like we had our family tables too. But then also we had like our bridal table, but like none of our bridal party sat up there because they went and sat with other friends. And it's perfectly okay. Like, I understand. It was just kind of like a weird scenario. At least I guess we had the table for us to cut our cake on, even though it was melting and whatnot. But yeah,
Madness.
as soon as like a few people left, like everyone was starting to leave. And like you and I hardly had the chance to even like just dance and have fun, all this kind of stuff. And so in the mix of the chaos, we were like, well, let's do like a fake like send off thing before everyone leaves, because we want to get the photos and yada yada. And so we did that, and we like fake left. Like we got into my car, but you drove. We drove like around the block for a little bit and tried to wait for people to leave. And then we came back probably about like 20 minutes later. And we just kind of stayed. Like, it was a few of our friends, primarily like a lot of the bridal party, and then like our parents and like some family. But like pretty much from then on, it was kind of like, okay, kind of clean up. And so we both had originally said like we both hated the idea of us just leaving.
Yeah.
And then like
we
everyone
created this giant mess, and now our friends and family have to clean it up.
Yeah.
That sucks. That's awful. We're not that kind of people.
No, like I couldn't stand that. So we did go back. We did help clean, but we also got to dance a little bit more and do things.
Thank you, Campbell, for keeping the music going.
For real. Our photographer had already left. I think Griff probably left, which is fine. But like we were the last 2 people there besides Campbell at the end of the night.
Right. Well, besides David, who works there. So
yeah, but I mean, we were out of there probably by like what 10:30.
Yeah,
at least, and we were supposed to like officially leave by like 10:40, and then start cleaning up because we had the place till midnight. But like we left really early
Mm-hmm.
and things just happen. But honestly, I'm happy that you and I were like there till the end.
Yeah.
It's cleaning up. We helped
Right.
Campbell load his stuff up,
Mm-hmm.
like made sure everything was out of there. And I know David was really grateful and everything when we thanked him. And
Yeah. I just feel like we're not that kind of people.
no,
I don't want to leave messes for other people to clean up.
no. I think it's like a personal thing. And plus, like, we were in band in high school and we were always cleaning up.
Yeah.
Even if it wasn't our mess, like, I remember sticking around to help clean up, like, competition or whatever. Because it's like, if everyone chips in, it gets done faster.
Yeah.
And then you can get to go home sooner.
Yeah.
You know? But, like, yeah, this was our responsibility. So I wanted us to be there to clean it.
Yeah. But that kind of goes back to the thing of there are things on your wedding day that are going to be out of your control. And so, yeah, it was a Thursday night and people got to go to work in the morning. And so, of course, we can't control people. We can't make people stay longer than they can. And so I'm not mad that like people had to leave early. Like I completely get it. But
I get it, but at the same time, like, I already felt the atmosphere in the room and like everyone was just kind of like half awake. And it's like, do we really need alcohol to get people to like stick around and party? Like, I kind of hate that because like, especially since you and I don't do, like, we don't drink, we don't go out to clubs or whatnot. Like, what else were they wanting? Like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm just being honest because it's like, I wanted to celebrate more. I was like ready to still like dance and stuff. And like, I felt we barely got to deal with that. And so in the end, it's kind of like, well, I still would have been fine if we'd done things slightly different where maybe it was just a smaller party of people or like an after party kind of vibe or whatever. I think someone had suggested that to us anyway, but it's just kind of like, even like after you and I had left, I was just like, yeah, I'm kind of ready to just go to bed.
yeah.
You know, at that point. But I don't know. It's a weird mix of emotions because like I'm super happy people came that could come. Kind of sad, kind of like salty about like some people that couldn't make it, especially if they just didn't say at all like anything. Disappointed that it's a weird thing because it makes me feel like we didn't, on my part, didn't supply enough entertainment. So it's kind of like, what else could we have done?
Right.
So it's like, because I'm a people pleaser, I want to make sure everyone's entertained. I didn't feel like people were entertained enough, you know? And so it's like, what could we have done differently that didn't involve alcohol to get people to stay?
Right.
So it's just kind of like, would it have been any different if we had it on Friday? Or would we have wasted more money just to have people maybe stay like an hour longer?
Right. But in the end, like, one, it's already done. So we can't do anything about that.
Right.
But, like, two, we can't control other people. We can try. We can do our best to, like, nudge them in directions, but we can't control other people. If someone needs to go, they need to go.
Yeah, and I understand.
And so, for me, I'm just like, yeah, does it suck that the party ended so soon? Yeah. But I can't do anything about that. I hope that everyone had a good time. And yeah. So, I mean, for other people planning weddings, you can't control everything. Sometimes a whole lot of people are going to leave early. Sometimes some people are going to say awful things. Nobody said anything awful at our wedding, but I'm just saying that, like, some people have rowdy friends or whatever it might be, or there might be some unfinished business between some people. And so it's like,
yeah,
be careful because, yeah, you can't control everyone. Don't open up the floor for anyone to speak. That's a bad idea.
Yeah, we didn't do like the toast or anything. We didn't even really have like a rehearsal dinner either, which is okay. mean, we just ended up going to like one of our favorite restaurants with like some of the bridal party that are like our best friends. So.
Right. And that was hardly planned. It was just like, oh, crap. Okay.
Like,
we're going now?
hungry. We're hungry. Let's
Yeah.
food.
Yeah.
And like, we could have done toasts then, but it's kind of like, it just feels more like in the spotlight for the person who's giving the toast and then the bride and groom. And it's just like kind of awkward sometimes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want anyone to feel forced to have to say something nice about us.
Right.
Like,
so if you feel like you can trust your friends to say something, sure, open up the toast or whatever. But for us, it's like, it's fine. Yeah. We know what we want to be said, and we've let it be said.
Right.
If you want to say anything else, you can just say it to us. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah. Is there anything else? This is kind of long.
It is long.
If you don't have money, don't push yourself. That's a big thing. I feel like I overextended.
Yeah, weddings are not cheap, y'all.
Yeah.
Like, we set ourselves a budget, and I think like we went a little bit over, but like it wasn't any more than maybe 1,000 over.
Right. Well, that's the thing is that.
But like,
I disregarded the budget once we were getting so close. There's like, nope, we need these things.
No, yeah, definitely. But I mean, again, that's why I'm saying like we still kind of controlled ourselves within reason. But like, I don't get how people are able to do like these 10,000 plus weddings when like alone the dress itself can be like a few grand. And I'm like, you're just wearing that for like an evening. What are you doing?
Yeah. The dress, the venue, the photographer.
Yeah.
Those are like going to be giant costs.
Yeah.
And then food.
Yeah.
For us, we had my parents cook, and so that saved us a lot of costs.
I mean, it's still not cheap, but it definitely did cut.
Plates, cutlery.
We were cheap. We did like plastic ware, stuff like that. Yeah. Like we not really thrifted, but like just resourced a lot of stuff, DIY'd a lot of stuff.
Yeah, if you don't, a lot of the decorations, or pretty much all the decorations, we made ourselves.
Yeah.
So I mean, we had our hands in everything, which was stressful for us because we had to take care of all of it.
Yeah.
But like, at least we knew exactly what we were getting. And that makes me happy about it.
Yeah. Again, the perfectionist dies because in the end, you just kind of want it to be done, and you have to just accept like certain things just aren't going to happen the way that you want. Like I had said I wanted to splurge on like real flowers for my bouquet for the bridal party. And in the end, I was just like, screw it. We're doing fake, you know?
And they look great. And you know what? They still look great.
Yeah.
Because they're fake flowers.
Yeah, just like little things here and there, like
the boutonnieres or the things that we put on the lapel. Yeah. Like mine looks great still. Like so it's fine.
Like you eventually learn the little details that like a lot of these like wedding like shows or magazines, whatever, where it's like, oh, make sure your napkins match the color of this or whatever, like eggshell or cream. Like that's matter. Those stupid things. It's like no one's gonna care at the end of the night. You know, the only things that they're
gonna wipe their face with it and throw it away. No one cares.
Exactly. That's like money in the trash for you. It's details people aren't gonna pay attention. Like I only remember certain things about each of the weddings that I've been to, and then I hope the most important parts of our wedding are what people remember from us. Yeah. Like, I don't even know if anyone knew that our colors were blue and purple other than like people that were involved with the wedding.
Right. Or even that I changed shirt and tie after the ceremony.
Right.
Because like my color scheme was mainly blue before the ceremony, and then after the ceremony, I added purple. Yeah. It's like, hey, we came together. Yeah. So, did anyone notice? I don't know.
Right.
But it was for me.
Yeah.
I'm happy about that.
Right. Exactly. So, I mean, and I wore glasses the entire time,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and a lot of people keep saying like they think that was really cool because like it's me.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you just kind of learn that you don't have to uphold these traditions. Like, at the end of the day, and what a lot of people kept telling me, so long as you just get through it and you say yes, and at the end of the day, you get to go, like, your house, Airbnb, hotel, wherever with your significant other, at the end of the day, you're done. Like, it's over with, you know? And so it doesn't have to be perfect.
Right. And don't forget the reason for all of it.
Yeah.
Which is like for each other. Don't let the stress of a wedding make you mad at each other, make you like
I don't think we ever
like each other less.
I don't think we ever faced that issue where we got mad at each other. And like, I know I was constantly told by someone like, oh, like, don't become a bridezilla, you know, kind of thing. And it's like, I only became that towards the person that told me that, but that was after a lot of other personal turmoil that had been building up, and we won't like get on that.
Right.
But still,
I feel like I was more of a bridezilla just because.
How?
Well, because the day of you were supposed to not be seen, and so
yeah,
I just went out and took care of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, you handled a lot of stuff, which thank you, by the way, because I felt awful that I was just in like the bride's room the entire day, and I was like, I literally can't leave in this room. Like, it sucked because like I would hear stuff going on, like getting set up, and I was like, I want to be out there and help, but I can't.
Yeah,
because like we're not supposed to see each other, and also we didn't do a first look, which I'm very happy about.
Yeah,
because like
it's more special to have it be the first time that we see each other.
Yeah,
whenever you walk down the aisle.
Did you get teary-eyed at least?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I didn't see you like ugly cry. So like when I didn't see that, I was like, damn it.
I mean, it takes a whole like combination of stuff to make me ugly cry. But yeah.
But you got teary-eyed?
Yes.
Okay, good. I'll take that victory then.
Once again, fucking gorgeous. But yeah. We're not going to talk about the wedding. This is already too long. Or the honeymoon.
I was going to say we already talked about the wedding.
Yeah, the honeymoon. Yeah. We're not going to touch that. But
long story short, we went to California, did a lot of stuff. It was jam-packed. Went to San Francisco. Forget San Francisco. I'm sorry for those of you that live there. It's not our vibe.
Yeah.
End of story.
Yeah.
Came back to the cold.
Yeah. Fuck Oklahoma.
Put it right out there.
Yeah. I'm not even gonna say I'm sorry. I have no choice about being here. But no, it's fine. I like it here, but
I don't like the weather.
I don't like the weather, nor the massive list of other things. Anyways, yeah. In the end, I love you.
I love you.
This has been a like almost 2.5 hour long tirade about.
Oh God, sorry,
things.
y'all.
Yeah, well, I'm kind of not.
Hopefully, we gave some of you out there some advice, ideas to think about with your future wedding.
Yeah.
And if you have any questions and you know us personally, you can always come to us.
Yeah. Or you can send me a message through all of the things that are on my website.
Definitely.
Yeah. Anything else to throw in there?
No.
Okay. Cool.
I was like, do they? No.
Yeah. No, let's end this. This is long, but yeah. I'm Santiago Ramones.
I'm Sable.
Where can we find you and your things? Do you have stuff to plug?
I do. I'm just not on it anymore. Well, I am on it. I just don't post enough. You can find me at _creations on Instagram. Post just like everyday kind of things about my life. A lot of honeymoon photos are going up.
Oh yeah.
Same on your Instagram.
Oh yeah. And Twitter and Facebook page. So
if you are interested in seeing what I have to offer as an artist, as a graphic designer, and hopefully character designer in the future, you can go to sableann.com and you can find my online portfolio and everything else on social media that is me on there.
Sweet.
I'm sorry I don't post enough.
That's whatever. You don't have to apologize for anything.
Been busy.
Thank you for doing this with me.
Of course.
I love you.
I love you.
So, of course, I'm Santiago Ramones.
I'm Sable.
You can find everything that I do on my website, santiagoramones.com. I make music. There's a whole lot of cool stuff happening in the future for Power Cycle. So keep an eye out on UCO's music stuff.
Very exciting
on the
stuff.
Jazz Labs stuff, because there's a lot of cool stuff going on that way. And you can also follow me on all the social medias. You can find the podcast on all of the places that podcasts can be found. You can leave reviews and comments. Let us know how you feel about the things that we talked about on our wedding. If you're already married and you're like, ooh, I wish I had tried those things, or I like that you guys did this thing, or I don't like that you guys didn't do this thing, whatever it might be, let me know. It'll be fun to discuss. And I always end the podcast with my 3 things. They shape my life philosophy. Those 3 things are: love never fails, it's going to be okay, I might be wrong.
Bye.
I love you.
I love you.